Welcome to Open Minds, Open Mic, the place to be on a Friday night. We have a special delight for you. Messiah Payne is going to be featuring, plus a whole bunch of other wonderful poets. Um, so I wrote this poem inspired by Messiah Payne and just the way his poetry makes me feel and makes me think. It's called I Remember. My mind unwinding, finding clues I left behind me, designed for my uprising. I choose the breath inside me, lined by undying views of a muse who sat beside me. Knowledge I held tight to, language I spelled right through, image I excelled, my sight's true. Through pieces of my past lives into speeches that I cast live. I f- a few breaches in my glass eye review teachers as I pass by. I grew true glitches within space-time in lieu of bass vibes. Sincerely, who knew the hinges had been swinging freely, briefly allowing wishes to seep deep into reality, clearly astounding. These glimpses creep around me. It's beginning to allow me to see how we fit existing in the now beat. I sit emitting a resounding bright light that surrounds me, insisting I might take flight. Proudly, loudly, I sound off, tossed a few words in the sky while I fly around lost, spew two-thirds of my mind at no cost to you, or whoever happens to cross paths with a version of me rapping about these diversional tactics, certain words to make 'em backflip. Classically spit magic, bird and birds who passively flew past it. I sarcastically chew plastic, surge into Earth's passage. Managed to do damage artistically, rhythmically laughing about all the past lives I was trapped in. No one knows what happened. I fashioned a glowing orb from a flowing storm so I had something to pass him for hunting crass hymns, transmitting Gnostic visions by twisting optic ribbons. I remember being born on more than one occasion. A defender who is sworn to warn all the neighbors. I render my physical form based on all the greatest. Am I the bravest or a sadist? Flipping through all the pages, I found out we're all made with the same sound vibration. I blame ground displacement for lame, unbound migrations. Salutations, my friends, with all my love and appreciation. Hmm.
Awesome. Wow. That was
Okay.
Yeah, that,
beautiful.
that was great.
Kind
I
of dropped the
loved
ball a
Wow.
that.
bit, but
No,
I
this
guess
is
Loved it.
Oh, read it
Fabulous.
again.
thank y'all so much. I appreciate the love. Um, yeah, I gotta practice that one a little more. It's kind of a tongue twister, but um, let's keep this thing rolling. Coming up first on our open mic list, we have Amadeus. If you could unmute yourself and bless us with some words, I'd appreciate it.
Hello, everyone. Good day, or should I say magandang umaga here in the Philippines. So today I'll be performing a piece actually, and it's a central poem. So for those who don't know what a central poem is, it is actually a poetic form composed entirely of lines from poems by other poets and authors. It's patchwork garment. So before I begin, I say credits to the following. So please wait, let me type it. All right, here we go. So the title of this piece is called The Art of One and the Voices of 12. My eyes tonight are like falling glaciers, then suddenly trembling earth pierces my sleep. I woke up and saw my art's presence that invokes beauty and more. Indeed, this art is the beauty of life when she's undressed. The art, formed like a flower, screams like tigers. With rhyming stripes and paraphrasing, be it Beatitudes. The flower slowly blooms with incandescent blossoms, for these are collection of art forms from human manifestation. Thou of wakefulness, and I cannot lessen the silence. For the art makes a noise and now shifts to tap dancing on a cell phone. Now a mouth of punchline and a guffaw of inflated thought. As the colluding moon rises to provoke jerks of happiness, foolish times I begin in sin, mindless, like an ancient Goliath that inhales marijuana, then going around and flying into nonsense. But along the way, I would wake up only remembering half. And I ask myself how memory can be half dead. Then one day I was reminded of this art form stating, when you feel your writing doesn't save you, just know it saves the rest of us. For in their world there is no color, but the darkness is blinding bright. It might as well be white. In their world, gratitude is black. Black as a hero returning from war. In their world, laziness is not just rampant, but adamant. The dog didn't eat their homework, but the poverty line did. There was a time a woman was known for her work that stated, this child I see, yet how many go missing? This child I see, you would rather forget. Unless this child carries your last name, this child I see deserve attention. You see, the grass is not always greener on the other side of the field. Therefore, defend yourself from the brightness of day and the darkness of night. Because I am the art of one and voices of 12, and I shall be your might. Thank you.
That was beautiful, man. That was awesome. Thank you so much for that piece, man. And welcome back. Yeah, it's so good to have you back here, and I hope you keep coming, man. I just absolutely love your poetry. Um, yeah, everybody, unmute yourselves and give all the love you have for Amadeus.
Yes, love that.
Yeah. Oh
That
my
was
God.
awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, I love how whenever you come here, you always bring something like different in tone. That's always so cool.
Yeah, it really shows the range of his style, you know. It's like that visual piece that he did and that tribute piece. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. And Martin, real quick to answer you, so I don't have to type. No theme, time recommendation, you know, around 5 minutes or so, just so we can get through, you know, everyone. But yeah, there's no theme, no real time limits, you know. We try to play it loose here. But yeah. All right, so coming up next, we have the lovely Nona Lea. If you could unmute yourself and bless us with some words, I'd appreciate it.
All right, let me see. There we go. Okay, so I'm doing something a little different and reading a section of an essay. I'm going to keep it under 5 minutes. It's like 14 minutes long and whole. Lately, the muses of my pursuits are the mythless gods and goddesses. Strange when you think of it, deities without stories to claim as their own. Maybe the myths fell to time, or did the ancients leave out their stories on purpose? In Grecian mythos exists several deities of enigmatic origins, the protogenoi, or primordial gods. These are the very first beings sprouting from nothingness, representing the concepts of order and chaos. Among them, one deity which sprung from nothingness struck fear in the hearts of ancient poets. Homer, Sappho, and Hesiod warn of the loosener of limbs, an immortal possessing hypnotic powers, rendering men crawling, helpless worms. This deity had the power to alter fate or to create it. Throughout history, he shapeshifts between baby, boy, and man. He is a trickster, a soldier, and a Lovecraftian horror. He is the god of passion, Eros. Eros's origins begin with Hesiod, the earliest poet on record to have mentioned the passion god. Two of Hesiod's works survive to this day in their complete form, the Theogony and Works and Days, while the Shield of Heracles remains in a fragmented state. His father migrated from Syme to, I'm going to butcher this horribly, Boeotia, a district in central Greece, which is considered Hesiod's hometown. Boeotia was a fertile pasture good for rearing sheep and cattle, and the backdrop loomed the Helicon mountain, famous for the home of the infamous Muses. For this reason, it suggested Boeotia as sacred. Here, Hesiod worked as a shepherd, where he received inspiration for his poetry while tending to his flock. The blog Ancient Literature asserts him as a didactic poet, one who seeks to teach through poetry as opposed to entertaining. Works and Days, in particular, inspired by the lawsuit and squabble between Hesiod and his brother over ownership of his father's lands, include moral lessons, which some assume is meant to serve as a guide for his brother to follow. In Works and Days, of which I used a version translated by Hugh G. Evelyn White, functions not only as a glimpse into the lore and mythos traded at the time, but also a farmer's almanac. FarmersAlmanac.com defines one as a compendium of knowledge on weather, gardening, cooking, home remedies, managing your household, preserving the earth, and more, that enlightens you with generations of perception, experience, and common sense. Because Farmer's Almanac demonstrates superstitious beliefs and biases arising from the collective cultural unconscious, particularly of the pastoral, they give key insights into the cultural expectations and beliefs Hesiod harbors. This will later become important for analyzing Hesiod's following work, Theogony, in which Eros debuts, to understand the ecological ideas of the time period, which prompts the following questions. How is nature represented in the text, and what are the possible messages it sends? Though nature is symbolized through deities such as Zeus and Gaia, known as Earth, not all deities are explicitly nature as we in the modern era would define it. Night, for example, is not a nature element to us, yet she is connected to the elements like air through her chaos lineage. Likewise, the children of night, Strife, who is easiest to envision as twins with one evil and one good, have strong ties to nature, with evil Strife, who fosters evil, war, and battle and being cruel, and the good Strife is set to be by men in the roots of the earth because she stirs up even the shiftless tool, aka farm. Each of these deities don't merely represent nature, but often single-handedly control and gatekeep the elements they are tied to. Many mortals would need to appease each of these deities by ritual and offerings to have a successful, in the case of Work and Days, farm life. Perhaps my favorite passage on the subject of the matter is a rule that it's dire for men not to pee at night, lest they offend the gods with their golden stream and genitalia. And this is a quote: "Do not stand upright facing the sun when you are making water, but remember to do this when he has set towards his rising. And do not make water as you go, whether on the road or off the road. Do not uncover yourself. The nights belong to the blessed gods. A scrupulous man who has wise heart sits down or goes to the wall of an enclosed court." And I am going to stop there because it's taken a long time.
Thank you for sharing that piece, and yeah, drop that link again. I'd love to read the rest. I already copied it, but I'm sure other people would love to read the rest of that.
I like how you really wove all that together.
Definitely. Everybody unmute yourselves and give it up for Nona Lea.
Yes. Loved
Yes.
it.
I read
Yes.
it earlier, right in the reading.
That was me.
That was interesting, Nona.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Definitely, definitely. And I like how you usually bring a lot of different fresh pieces and different things too. That's cool. Always keep it fresh, you know. Oh, we got Frogg Corpse joining. And Marine, would you like to read tonight as well? What's up, Frog? All right. So coming up next, we've got Jayden. It's been a while. I'm so glad that you made it back. I'm excited to hear what you have for us. So if you could just unmute yourself and bless us with some words, we would appreciate it.
Hey everyone, I know it's been forever, had a lot going on, but I'm gonna read a poem I wrote actually a few months ago. So it's called Ocean. The ocean waves blow in and out, crashing to the shore, drowning self-doubt. The salty water is calm, but for not very long. You wade in slowly, cautiously and still. The waves bring you down so deep you need gills. Holding your breath, you're determined to wait for the water to retreat, not see fate. 1 second more, just another you think. The salt burns your eyes each time you blink. Is the salt from your tears or the ocean's messy waters? Your eyes burn like fire, like a helpless animal slaughter. The waves pull you out further and further from shore. The waves of the ocean hold you like a trapdoor. You think about why. Why would you take on the waves? You know the ocean wreaks havoc for days. Further and further down you go, below the water surface, now feeling low. The ocean waves continue to flow out and in. Upon just shore to watch. No, never again. Thank you.
That was beautiful. I love ocean poems. I miss the ocean. I grew up next to the
That
beach and
was
now I'm
good.
landlocked. So,
Love
yeah.
it.
Everybody, unmute yourselves and give it up for Jayden and welcome him
Woo!
back.
Woo!
Yes, loved
That
it.
was
Bring that
beautiful.
ocean energy.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. All right, so next on our list, we have Kristi Scribbles. So, Kristi, if you could unmute yourself and bless us with some words, I'd appreciate it.
What up? What up? I missed you all. Excited to see Maureen Medina in the house. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I am the channeling poet. I often sit with Yeshua or Jesus, as a lot of you might know him. So this came inspired by him. Here we go. And inspired by, our world of, hate and inequality. Okay, here we go. Jesus would wear rainbows. He would. He would march rocking that rainbow. He is marching. He is teaching. He is, oh, hold on, start again. Woo! Jesus would wear rainbows. He would. He would march rocking that rainbow. He is marching. He is teaching with prophets who help others, who heal others, who listen to others, who laugh with others and do the work and make the art and teach the kids and open the doors to help the neighbors and love the gays, the straights, and everyone everywhere in between. Jesus would help the homeless, not try to move them further away so that they can't be seen. He would love you no matter who or what you believe, without judgment or malice. Just love and rainbows, kindness, forgiveness, inclusion of all peoples, all types, all kinds. Everyone gets a hang. Everyone gets a chat. Even the guy on the cross, as he hung there, he hung with that guy. He was just that kind of person. He didn't hate anyone or anything and always gave everything, always gave the divine inside him a listen, a platform, not division, not separation, not classes of wealth for power and power for money that feeds the power, that feeds the money, that fuels the power, that fuels the churches, that breeds the power of the nonprofit, the taxes not paid, while corruptions and hate and regression is all that is focused on. Who has the power? Who is in control or what is in control? Fear is in control. Money is in control. Guilt, shame, doubt is in control. Control the masses, control the power, control the prophets named Jesus. Control, destroy, never change, never grow, never allow, never accept, never forgive, never love, never bend or stretch, across on the name of a man who lived to love and change the corruption and speak for the people, the ones no one wanted or listened to or cared about. Jesus would march with the women and the climate activists and for gun control, and he would let you into traffic. He slow down and not beep at you. He would let you cut line at the grocery store and talk to the scruffy old gentleman outside in the corner. He would pay for people's coffee and shop locally and be active in the community and help with the food drives and wave hello every time and would want people to feel safe and feel like they belong and love their bodies and love who they want. Jesus would want people to love whomever the hell they wanted, and he would love the ones who didn't love him. He would support the ones who didn't support him. He would forgive the ones who didn't forgive him. He just would, and he just does, and he just is here, now, for you to chat with anytime you need him. He wants to hang and chat and be a friend and a support and not worshipped, not pedestal, not different, man, but the same inside. The love of the divine shines from all of our insides, just like his mother, just like his confidant, Mary Magdalene, his partner, his other half, his equal. Yes, equal. All people are equal to him, to them, to us, to we, to he, to Jesus, the one that wants to help and heal and pray and love. Jesus is love. He loves you just the way that you are, in all of the rainbows and all of the colors and all of the forms and all of the you that you are right now in this moment, in this version. Jesus loves you. Jesus is love. So yes, Jesus rocks that rainbow.
Yeah, Kristi, thank you. Thank you so much. Jesus does love all. He is love. Everybody, unmute
Fantastic work,
yourselves.
Kristi.
That
Give it up
was
for
Ovation.
Kristi.
amazing. Oh my gosh.
I'm going
Oh,
back for
yes,
the recording for
yes,
this one for
yes.
sure.
Amen.
Catch a breath here.
You need to perform this on a stage. This is like a really important one.
Yeah, yeah. for
Yeah, I
sure.
like how you really started to wear that poem like a third of the way into it. You know, you really started to blast off with that. The energy just went way up.
Yeah, yeah. Amazing, amazing stuff. All right, so we have one more person on the open mic list, round one, before our feature, and then we will continue into round one after our feature. Lantern Carrier, I'll go ahead and post the round one continue list that we have going here. But yeah, Lantern Carrier, if you could unmute and bless us with some words, brother, I would appreciate it.
Sweet. Thank you, my brother. Greetings to everyone else. My underground queen, elegant, serene, majestic, speaks of love silently, like an immaculate rose, in a language singing sweetly to my heart. Her duku gele elaborate head wrap, woven from the finest silk in Africa, adorns her charisma like an Egyptian princess. I see her, eyes steady, ebony cheeks glistening from the glint of summer, nose molded with care and beauty, laced with the genes of Mama Africa herself. She carries her bearing well, with poise, dignity, stateliness, and modesty, like the goddess that she is, this unsung empress, like one standing against injustice, wears her head up like a queen will wear a tiara, sweet neck caressed by sky blue raiments of the finest silk. I see her on my daily commute, proud, flawless, forceful, as regal and incandescent as the moon, not vain, but an untainted lioness, drawing effortlessly from the vigor of ancient warriors. She smiles like Nefertiti, a Nubian goddess, her eyes like magnetic resonance, scanning the very depths of my soul, cautious, penetrating, looking for signs of affinity. I feel the depth and power in her fortitude, the deep scars within this royalty of the sun, steadfast, zephyrs waltzing with a garment where she sits, a true messenger of love. She's a significant part of a network, ferrying the enslaved to freedom, that unalienable right given by the divine which their captors, inflicting a legacy of supremacy and indifference, seem not to respect. So here is my queen, one part of a convergence of several undercover efforts designed to remove the chains so brutally inflicted on innocent humans, whose only crime was the love of freedom in their own African haven. I know my queen has purpose. This royal empress, this rare diamond is like a fine vintage made from pressed berries straight from the sacred vines of Nubia in the kingdom of Tush. She is the quintessence of finesse, yet powerful, a selfless risk taker, fighting unbowed against humans' inhumanity to humans in this, our sacred earth. She reminds me of lotus flowers, sitting gracefully on a lake, and I could dance in a garden forever. Yet she's here, mesmerizing, her beauty adding luster to the carriage window, and I'm proud to sit beside her, as this is no ordinary metro, but an underground railroad, a secret and clandestine resistant movement which led to the freedom of countless enslaved Africans to the north. Yes, this is no ordinary queen, but a Moses of her people, a dauntless heroine bleeding, removing the echoes of burning pain inflicted on the blood of our ancestral people. Je t'aime, yo te quiero más hoy que ayer, pero no tanto como mañana, nakupenda sana, me do wo papa. Ay! I have another one, too. The quest of love. In the profundity of my soul, there's a constant longing, like that of a lost lover, his copious tears like torrential rain, crying for his beloved. Any intimate lover, once kissed with the fiery passion of my sweet Shyama, longs to return home. In this dark field of shadows, the quest for love is like the luminous moon blanketing the darkness with a vast canopy of light. I search for a remedy to calm this malady of life. As such, I keep grasping at you like straws, even while spinning my own web of entanglements. And you, a soul bird that never stops singing. You are the rope tugging at my heart, which pulls me back, the yearning from the breath of breaths, drawing me towards you like the honey does the bee, like celestial wine and the minstrels who got me intoxicated. I seem entrapped, but no, not at all. I have spurned and created a path of pleasure, acting like a veil, distorting my own judgment, giving in to wanton desires, drawing me connivingly away from you, so that as the moth to the flame, I run towards my own self-destructive cravings. Whenever I feel your absence, it's like the waning moon in my twilight evening. The luster of 1,000 stars fades, and despair whispers into the dark night of my soul. I once saw rainbows regularly at sunsets, with spring's sweet-scented lavenders hugging the aroma of my excellence and silence. Now I seek thy peerless presence, dreaming of you and I, gazing into the infinity of a love so vast that I swoon in bewilderment of joys and sorrows. Our joys and sorrows have endured forever, and within your magical presence, and within your magical embrace, the past, present, and future are all the same. I tasted sugarcane as a child and vintage wine as an adult, yet you are both, only more vintage, when you kiss my heart with your beauty, and I swoon like a drunken lover in the bosom of thy love. Come day or night, in pain or regret, my faith in you is matchless. Why speak of sorrow when all I see is your genteel cheeks and stunning charisma, carrying the essence of your magnificence 24/7? I came to you with scars and shadows, but you embraced me with a candescent delight, healing my wounds with the fire of thy love. No more the vulnerable one longing for happiness, for my chalice is full to the brim, flowing with the heavenly nectar of thy peace. Love at first molded me, a spider's web entangled in my feelings. Unlike the butterfly emerging from his cocoon to fly, I became a bee, tasting the mellifluous honey of thy sweetness. Nor the thorn of 100 stems cannot compare to the sweet-scented sacrifice of 10,000 roses. There is a voice that whispers like the willow on the breeze, knocking on the doors of my inner tabernacle. There's an inner empress, a pilot that never stops flying, but soars like a phoenix, sprinkling her supernal love, even while waiting patiently, para llevarme a salvo a casa, to take me safely home. London Carrier. Thank you.
Thank you, Lantern. Amazing as always. So beautiful. I have a question for you, because I know
Yes,
you're
sure.
just you're just a poetry machine. How many poems estimated have you written?
I'm about 3,000 so far.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. And
Yeah,
and
they are
all of them are just
Lantern.
amazing. Everybody
No, no.
unmute yourselves and give it up for Lantern Carrier.
Thank you, my
Yeah,
brother.
Lantern Carrier.
Yes.
Woohoo!
You know, Lantern Carrier, listening to your poetry with New York City outside the window here is a very interesting phenomenon.
I get a vivid impression there, Skiff. From the Jedi Master, I really appreciate this compliment.
Awesome, excellent. All right, so the time has come, everyone. The man of the night, Messiah Lawrence Payne, is a poet from Brooklyn, New York. He loves shoegaze music and hip hop producer Fat John. With an interest in philosophy, theology, and Buddhism, he is typically consumed with his own feelings and thoughts. He is 30 years of age and has affection for most people. Messiah Payne, if you could bless us with some words, we'd appreciate it.
Thank you. I apologize for that bio. It was very good, but I'm not very good with bios. So anyway, I will start with an older poem. All I can say is that it's a love poem. So here we go. It's called You Like the Flower. The still presence of this flower, like you, enigmatic, though a stoic fragility, aeons in the making, a procession of countless lives, countless souls, from inspired thought to unspoken word and sensible time, have contributed to your spurious development, as in the flower, myriad existences, neither real nor unreal. Could you be said to exist as I see you now? Could this flower be said to exist as we commonly perceive it? This flower speaks, though its language is reaching, immemorial from the perspective of infinitesimal time. It has, like you, bloomed into its own reverie, where beauty emanates from within its cryptic reflections. Its scent, like yours, the patterns of truth elusively reflected in the secrets of our universe. The form of this flower, radiant with the earth's private translucence, like you, billions of years to approach creation, to meet me here, eternity felt in its pores, dew falling from your petals, encompassing the cycles of being, the transcendent searching like love from renewed possibility in your eyes. I have imagined you as much as you are real to yourself, and desire can no longer contain me or steal you away. Like the flower, you are a totem to time before time, suggesting a beauteous, fantastic passage from sparks of light generated after the midnight hours of an infant universe to caressing genial form, retaining God's fingerprint in a mortal body, riveted by features in the image of divine pleasure. You, like the flower, can never be penetrated, for your solace, drawn from your indelible depths, are entirely your own, a gnosis not clear to you yet, that alludes to your seduction that I labor desperately to resist. I admire you. I come to you, making short work of seconds, and I touch you, caressing the skin that has sustained my yearning for so long. No intimation of you could pry you from your nubile solitude. You, like the flower, beg for an observer to delicately take you from this earth and gently stroke your sanctity. Though heaven be miles away, Paradise is felt and seen here in time's stunning epoch, the transparency of your body and soul through me. This is a newer poem. I think I wrote it yesterday or 2 days ago. It's called Funeral. On the day of my funeral, I'd like to have a coffin precisely symbolic of the life I once lived. A coffin in an obscure place, distant from the eyes of others, situated in a place of devouring sunlight, bathing in the private light, shorn of deceitful observation, contained in the small molecules of the sun, in a touch so intimate as to feel the light upon my skin, even in death. No, I will never be shattered, never shattered, not even in death. And here's another newer one. It's called Beauty of What Form. What form of beauty best describes, what form of poetry best describes beauty? Some prefer a direct approach, simple words, simple beauty. Some prefer metaphor, grandiloquence, beauty of greater elaboration. I think that poetry is best described by the embedded mystery of the unconscious, what we feel we know and what we know we feel, below the opalescent frame of consciousness. Poetry is in the anguish, the angst, the joy and serendipitous constant of life, not so mere. It takes in the limited terms of life or the conscious mind circumvented to itself and bridges the cognitive force to a universal that shares in your sacrality. What we can barely conceive of in ourselves, yet which underpins and lays tracks for the journey we undertake in this little vehicle we call reality. Poetry is to me best described by the loss of consciousness. It is a dream of beauty, a dream of ourselves. Every man and woman, dog and worm is a poet. The poetic process is in the universal, that we frame this life on essential mystique. What we know can aid us, but it does not define us so much as what we do not know. Poetry emerges from the mind the way a wise idiot emerges from the cavern of the unknown, greeted by the excited child who is the known, taken by the hand and told what's what by the child. A symbiosis is born, both come to beauty. What poetry gives is the conscious or the known, the child, act of making the unknown not simply beautiful, but relatable. For what do we know beyond the minds we have, limited to a small wound we call self? Let's see.
Wow, that was wonderful.
Thank you. So, here's an older one. It's one of my favorites that I've written. It's another love poem. But this one is about falling in love at a distance. Observing someone who you've never met before and coming to realize that this person has incited in you a particular threshold to which you cross and feel as though you're in love. So here it is. It's called Gazing at You Across the Room. You are a certain fascination, a reprieve where facility in the language of dreams takes root in an enigmatic knowledge of you espoused like the serene mystery of being at its center. A mirage, perhaps, yet I seem to feel you the way my soul might respond to a haunting intuition of going home at last. To whom could I turn when this riotous demand for love must escape this violent quietude that is my hidden self, formed of dubious frustration, where I summon to love in parsimony, your striking immediacy of form gliding over the surface of my indecision, when this allusion to being that beauty sustains emanates from the faint attention in your eyes, seeming to bear the ambitions of love's character in a simple stimulus of lifting your head. To acknowledge the tempest of affection on the edge of your world. How do you conceive life in your way? Where does your world begin? To become a part of the faith arising from your undefinable smile, as I dither I call to hope. I have seen you, porous allure, of the earth without its secrets, of me removed from the weight silence imposes, like an ocean of all depth and no surface. Your body is the cosmopolitan metaphysic of life, for in all your oceans and skies, from your eyes, like stars just begat by divine mastery, to your feet that walk wayward miles of only depth, to reach me, lies essential nature birth to transparency. And to know life, your life, I must abandon what temerity to remain solely within myself remains. I must come into myself, here in this blessed moment, in which your grace in the stride of goddesses comes into my devout and ancient reverie. Now, as I approach you, this grace of your eccentric presence becomes the blossom of consciousness, and your radiance as the abode of heaven's arc shatters what remains achingly still and piously remote within me. I approach with my secrets coming undone and ask your name, and as I do, your dance in the elegant stages of being becomes the beatitude of a spell, casting love in the place of illusion, trusting that a transcendent descent will have its place between us, across the ages we've met here in the crucible of destiny, are being held in the nurturing promise of union embraced by love herself. Faint are your eyes, encapsulating heaven and earth, looking in to see who I truly am. Let's see. This is a newer one. It's called A Brief Conversation. As the trembling earth pierced my sleep, subsumed by an echo of all the world's violence, I sat along a river, howling with the pleas of endless voices. Saturated by immediacy and impatience, gently imposed from a wound in the air, a perforation of timelessness, a woman wilted beside me, who was slow to speak, with eyes like falling glaciers. Finally, she spoke with a voice like inveterate terror. How did you get here? Is that what you're asking yourself? And her lips curled into a grin, seducing horror to revelation. Her presence invoked something beautiful and forbidden, cutting a profane scar upon my thoughts. Where am I? I said with harried consternation, attempting to conceal the panic in my voice. She chuckled. You are having a dream, and here is where your awareness of me begins to burgeon with all the temerity of an adult. Now is where your childhood ends. Who are you? I said with a broken whisper. I am the beauty of life when it is undressed. I am the terrible answer of the omnipresent gesture that is being. I am the passage of time, and I am time when it dies. Sit with me and hear the prayers of the dead in this river, all their regrets. They plead with me for salvation, for second, third, and fourth chances. They plead for sanctuary. You are here for the same reason they are here. Your time is going to die, and soon you will be in my river, pleading just the same. She giggled and smiled at me. Unlike the grin, her smile was soothing, merciful, yet absolute. This is my river, she said, and it leads to different lands, where these poor souls wash up and must continue their lives. Their time starts again, until it once again dies, and they are back in my river to wash up somewhere else. I thought I grasped what she was trying to say. So our lives end only to continue somewhere else? Yes, she exclaimed, exactly as though it had never ended. She put her finger in the river and pulled it out. Putting her finger to my lips, a small drop of water fell into my mouth. I began to shake. There was a feeling bordering on relief, an ecstasy almost surmounting the terrific troubles of my soul. I will grant you a wish. Tell me where you wish to go after your time ends, and there you will go. But I caution you, your transition will be seamless, as though your previous life was a forgotten dream. You will remember nothing. I grant you this because you have found me before your time, and thus deserve a boon. I said, I wish to be somewhere where I never again have to be in your river. She laughed obscenely, and plucked the flower from her hair. Very well, she said. I will offer you this flower. It is your consciousness, and when your time ceases, you will return here. If your flower has bloomed, then I will plant it on the green beside the river, and you will never again return to the waters of my river. If it does not, you may never have another chance to escape from me, and you may forever be taken the way these souls are. I bid you good fortune, Messiah. Let this gift be the making of your freedom. She laughed again, this time as warm jest between friends. Placing her finger again in the river, she touched my head as though blessing me, and I awoke. There the flower was on the pillow beside me. I stared at it, dazed and disturbed. But as I began to recall the woman and her river, the flower slowly began to bloom. This is a poem that I've written about my relationship with my mother. It's called Mera Dolorosa. When I was barely a child, soaring atop a discordant mount, a frustrated sensibility forever straddling the cusp of birth, I often heard my mother's tears. She held her tears terribly closely, yet seemed to reproach herself and keep them at arm's length. Her proclivity to conceal pain, reserving her struggle for relationship with her God, not meant for the eyes and ears of mere mortals. I would ask in the parsing of her distance, if her cries would reach the seat of he who listens and hears all, would he deign to respond? Without prayer, stretching the confines of myself, I have seen my mother die many deaths, in paces we miss, in battles faintly fought at the service of preserving a child that perhaps she didn't want, attenuated by forces unclear, confused by anger, having no clear foundation. I rejected her pain, loathed her grieving, her rage, her will to power, bound by a lack of openness, unwilling to offer warmth. I have felt that she was an uncomfortable child herself, attempting desperately to raise another, maturing as a cresting wave in a sea far from shore, and at 20, 25, 30, she could hardly raise her head above water long enough to seek one out. I could hear my mother's tears, though she really cried in front of me. Her tears were in the grievous resentment she felt at the task of raising a child who demanded what she could not provide, affection, and not because she felt she had to, but rather because she wanted to. Seeing her, feeling for her, reserving my place in her heart once seemed a Sisyphean task. Bloodletting wouldn't describe how deeply she lives within me. As in the furthest recesses of my memory, stroking with all the grim incitation of a consuming fire, I see a woman who simply needed to be loved, but whose insecurity declined the experience. Perhaps as we now live in different places, she is more at home in the world, and may she rest now each night in the flowers of her flourishing peace. I love her now, not in the climate of a stone rolling back down the hill, but instead the way an oak knows it blooms, startlingly, strongly, slowly, with the power that beckons from the necessity of new life, always. Together we have a new life, absolute, as I reach out to her, no longer a child, feeling distance reproved in a closeness between mother and child, inseparable, fortuitous, as the early stars deliver on love itself between our mutual growth. And this is a poem in two parts. It's called Lust and Descent. In our strife-abounded garden, belabored with years of discontent, I desperately plant the seed. Her soil subsumes my boorish decadence. Our relationship, our communion struck with the tragedy of lust and little else. With descent comes a demand for new horizons, but such distances leave little to the imagination, for I've seen my life beyond her abased geography. Only intangible blight and dust seem to lie irredeemably without her. Her scalding encouragement to meet my body with hers, or the desolate tears of an unfounded world, empty, which is preferable. There are little signs of exasperation, little gestures of residual desire, while tenderness no longer accentuates passion, but rather vulpine resentment to the bitter touch. As I set the seed deeply in the soil, a relational flower will form in the rapid dissembling of her recessive seasons, that endear my feelings to starvation, as to need her still in the fallacy of her fragility corrupts the seed of love, and what flower will grow in the pangs of distress? When it finally does emerge, will needful emotion be appropriate as we wrench elaboration from a disquiet that seems eternal? Will we approach each other with an abandon, liberating secrets, at last rewarding our wounds in immersed pleasure deserved of each other's company? Ecstasy exists in her body, her lips like the generation of a star, her thighs like dreams in the sleep of heaven. I need my body into her emotional distance, belittled by her saturating moans, gushes of coarse pleasure that usually remain unexpressed, and I know that the aftermath will be heartbreak. I will leave her tonight, and the dread upon my departure will be the stead that liberates my fear of her seasons. And one half of our flower, finally blooming into the most beautiful laceration of the heart, grossly formed with the pervasive scent of despair, will impose upon my unconscious, making slightly bearable the consciousness of silence, gleaming delicately in the early morning. As the waif of rising sunlight in the distance weighs provocatively on my hopes, bringing earnestness to eventual clarity, yet still without love. This is the second part. As you haunt my reverie, my immature placidity leaves me daunted and precious in your wake, placing flagrant desire raucously, a grim distillation of sensing homelessness, as I find you are nowhere within me. In your stead, emotive transparency floods my delicate grasp of mind, delivering the edges of my consciousness to conformity at your feet. At the precise moment you have left me wordlessly agape in diminished acumen of love's insecure mask. What can I say that will endow lasting sensibility? Love amassed, love dwindled, a world within me, suffering desolation, a world empty in worlds without. They say beauty holds its grip subjectively, yet were all the worlds to incline inward in their intuitive perception of you, then beauty would hold objectively, affirmatively, sublimely, perhaps the way God intended this cosmic flower upon planting its seed. Now that my breath no longer concedes to your presence, I faintly comprehend why I fell for you and continue to fall. You were a luscious curve where there was linear distance, a touching voice generating ablution where before there was granite silence, breaking the longing in unsettled solitude. Forgetting you is not the problem. It is appreciating the time we shared, abating fractious questioning, keeping you close, as your love was decidedly the interest of life's big gift. And though you've forgotten me, still you come to me in dreams, the transitory situation pensive and a little ridiculous. You come forward as an elder woman, your youth tacitly emergent in your eyes, and ask as though you already know the answer. Are we meant to be? How many poems do I have left, Thomas?
You can go a couple more if you want, man.
Okay. Here's another favorite of mine. It's called the Maravati. The wisdom of a mere flower precedes the generation of the atom. For its bloom is the blessed reality of nature before time and space, the stimulation of divine origin. And as the song of a new moon laments serenity in the laconic physique of evening, bashful the flower beseeches the goddess for the clarity of solar revelation to feed from the beauty of Indrani herself. Consumed for the heart of heaven, to impose its vision of sublime hearth in a mere flower. Its perfume is the scent of billions, and infinite still the tantric years of cosmos, natural, a contact, woven by affable souls, hidden in the energy that imagines the gods into being. A flower I have picked for you, my only love. Its story is a catalytic continuum of gods and cosmos has come and gone. It is where both the immortality and finitude of being meet in the blossom of life's surrender, where celestial secrets are kept and given, where my life finds its purpose, This flower's symbolic arousal of our life together, intimated in your love. You are the intimacy of a flower. Let's see. I'll read this one. It's a newer one. I think I wrote it maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's called The Ashes of My Mind. Could life's only destination meet us like unnerving comedy in the mere seconds it takes to realize love's simple moments? Could it be that we humans are imposters in life and love strips away the lie we covet to keep ourselves closest to an imperceptible and foolish reality, revealing our abuses as we dwindle fastidiously on the lurch of time? My dreams are slowly lacerated in the making of your Payne sanctuary, each step in your coiled brokenness a step too far, where your humanity has not developed nor transcended, but has instead sustained the transitory pleasures of an illusion. Your objections to fate's violent will, where love's making of you, stultify your parched relegation of affection to my desperate grasp. Emptiness where you once spoke persists with the abrasive certainty of death. Now you arrange for your vulnerabilities to be kept by the abyssal silence of your mind. In my mind, you were never at love's behest, though you invented my dream of it, merely with a gaze. You haunted every thought and pervaded every hour. I recall I took your hand and told you that you were loved. Debussy could not have composed anything more ardent. Now I grow tired, and you are as carefully circumspect as ever. Would your love seed the eventual growth of patience and virtue? No, I no longer need your love. I am no longer enchanted by your eyes, your voice, your body. Have you grown brittle, or have I? Like ashes, my thoughts have burned and now evaporate in the space you have left behind. Your absence like nonsense chatter from an irreconcilable source. You will be forgotten, and I will be kept safely, perhaps illusorily, by the wisps of what remained in my mind telling me gently, she didn't know how to love. She didn't know how to love. Let's see here. So this is about a year old. I think I wrote it last year, sometime. It's called Panentheism, a Prayer. The search to alleviate the unspoken decrepitude from sin marking my intramural richness, in osmosis of beauty itself, where God's value is myself, and lies still in his graces transcendent. God and I are one. Our journey for our indelible lucidity to make affluent the balance of spirit within and without. Causations of centered repose are effluent of our undeniable oneness. From a climate of barren acrimony, claims me from a place I thought remote to you. Now I stand enamored of a resurrection I feel closely, my new beginning in the darling breath of my approaching revelation. The I believed I knew, now ascends from the bowels of preponderant degradation, when my heart begs a final question before the whisper of infinite disclosure of myself to ourself becomes the besotted cry, rising to decimate my subjective disequilibrium. What am I to do now that I feel you repeal a bond already set in my skin and blood? Now that I have left behind the ferocious silences of isolation, my soul more amorous to revel in the presence of your circumferential acuity, from whence was lost everything. You are newly born within, communicating within me a benefaction to deform the constraints of my broken solitude. With you, I leave behind the destitution of my dissipated grasp. With you, I meet the present as infinite stillness, amen, of simply being. With you, I stand transfixed of the world, my mortal hue in your sententious grace. This palpable now, which is the maiden heaven beseeching to be seen in her ether. The Gospel of Thomas says, the kingdom of the Father is spread upon the earth, and men do not see it. My perspective alters from within my recondite depths, and the mystery of your immanence becomes more apparent as inquiry. If you are an I or one soul, how do I begin to surrender? Is my pain your pain? Is my joy your joy? Will my hidden self be yours to tell? And when my love is your love, will our self be the abundance of paradise, a universal soul, carrying the world between us lightly? All the universe, a sea of diamonds shared between us? All of us coming to the sanctuary of peace in our true bitten self, truest unity, as serene as you are life itself, as loved as we are love itself. I think I'll stop there.
Wow.
Thank you so much, Messiah Payne, for that feature, man. Your
Yes, that was
vocabulary is
awesome.
transcendentally immaculate, man. Like,
Woo,
so dope.
romantic.
Yeah, everybody, unmute yourselves and give it up for Messiah Payne.
Yeah, Messiah.
Phenomenal.
Woohoo!
Good
Absolutely.
job, Messiah.
Very beautiful.
Beautiful work.
Very eloquent.
Beautiful
Lovely.
delivery.
Well, lovely. Very lovely.
That was super set. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely sublime, man. I appreciate you doing this feature for us, man. I really do. All right, we're gonna keep this thing rolling now. I'm gonna go ahead and post the round one continue list. Starting us off is the Magus, Gustav, Sallas. If you could unmute yourself and bless us with some words, we would appreciate it, brother.
Hey, Thomas, Catalyst, beloved poets. I am not feeling so great. I had my COVID and flu shot yesterday, and I was feeling better earlier, but now I'm starting to feel a little wonky. I'm going to do my poem, and then I think I'm going to sign off for tonight. Love to all the poets who came before, and my regrets to all the poets who come after. This is called Welcome to Dystopia. Idiocracy gone to hell in A Handmaid's Tale, like a remixed 1980 floor show. Their brave new world's really a plague-ridden medieval times. People playing war games when, strange game, the only winning move is not to play. Blade Runners terminating skin jobs, Road Warriors beyond Thunderdome. 2 men enter, 1 man leaves, the other guy soylent green. It's people, but I'm going to bust out the Matrix because I see there is no spoon. The God Emperor of Dune. I make like Omega Man and kill some zombies before Skynet unleashes the Terminators. You are number 5. I am not a number. I am a free man. You are number 5. I am not a number. I am a free man. The prisoner imagines the cell. The jury has sent him to hell. His 6x8 slice of dystopia within a dystopia. America's prison industrial cornucopia. Complex but simple as a slave plantation. 2 million people in incarceration. The U.S., the world leader in prison population. Domestic infant supplier exploitation. Penny-wise but pound foolish. We're Gacy clown ghoulish. That's it. We're like Bozo the clown foolish. 698 Americans out of 100,000 are behind bars. China's only got 121 per 100,000. Home of the free hours. Pardon the prisoners of the drug war fought in error. Bring healing to communities where once there was terror. We built our society on a broken foundation. White supremacy and guns are the seeds of our damnation. Guns have turned Americans into prisoners of unconscience. Afraid at school, afraid in the grocery, afraid you'll be the next Walmarter. Shot, live streamed, and accompanied by a racist manifesto Kickstarter. Tucker Carlson paraphrased by the incel loser who has taken society's abuse and is now the abuser. The abused is now the abuser. Thank you, everyone. Love you all.
Thank you so much, Magus. We hope you feel better. Get some rest. Thank you for sharing with us. Everybody, unmute yourselves. Send some healing vibes. Send some love for Magus.
Yes, get better.
Yes,
Well,
man. Yes, man.
Good job,
Always fire.
Magus.
Always fire, man.
Beautiful, Magus.
Word.
I like to use that for the next center poem.
Get better, man.
I
Get
hope you don't
better. Get
mind.
better.
Definitely. All right, brother. We hope you have a wonderful night and a wonderful weekend. And we'll see you next Friday. Coming up next, we've got the Jedi Master himself, straight from New York, Paul Skiff. If you can unmute yourself and bless us with some words, I'd appreciate it, brother.
Hey, hi, thanks. I kind of put a new pavement on the street out here, so it's a little noisy. I hope it's not going to come over on your end. I'm going to just read 3 excerpts from a piece of creative nonfiction. I'm going to skip around in this thing. There won't be a lot of continuity. It's mostly prose, but it ends up with just flat out poetry. So I'm hoping you can just enjoy the poetry. And it's a piece that was published in this book. Figure that I got published somehow by Simon and Schuster in 2000, and this editor wanted men to write about what you would do if you had a vagina for one day. And so I thought, I'm never going to get published. I'm just going to submit something where I just have as much fun with this as I can. And the title of this is Vulva Talk. Hi, my name is Paula. At birth, this was actually supposed to be the name given me, as my parents, having first a boy, planned for me, the second child, to be a girl. My father and mother had wanted me to enter the world as a biological female. That's right. I doubt, however, they would feel any satisfaction for my having a vulva for one day, especially since the vulva I had so recently acquired was purely an effect of culture. I will explain this. A letter arrived from me from the continent of Australia, asking that I imagine life for one day as a person with a vulva. As a social practice and habit, this exercise was the kind of indulgent behavior culture has promoted since time immemorial. And since time immemorial, the catch was my vulva would be culturally explored. Appropriate, perhaps, since the only vulva I had was a cultural vulva. Yep, announced the examining physician. That's a vagina, and I don't know how it got there, but will have to be removed. Look, I countered as sober as possible, I'll just stop imagining it for this story. No need for radical surgery. I can just unbelieve it away, doctor. I pulled up my trousers and left while the doc pitched, hey, if you're worried about cost, I won't charge. You're an unusual case. This is important for medical science. Listen, doc, let's not get make-believe mixed up with your career boost. Suddenly, I wanted to see my vulva, behold my vulva, to hold my vulva, to hold, to become my vulva, to devour it through my eyes, to participate by seeing myself as my vulva, but only partially, not really. I turned myself into a person with a vulva. I became a spectator of the event that took the place of the sexual act. What I saw still belonged to my memory of my mother. For a moment, I borrowed her strength, then having seen my vulva, I laid down, exhibiting my whole self as the vulva, cut off, a trophy, a severed head, Medusa's head, cut off, thinking, none of you have a vulva. I am acting the part of a vulva. I am showing you how you are supposed to consume vulva. I was the genital, both wished for and possessed, and highly visible. But my vulva was not a strange fact, nor the source of a powerful urge over which I had no control. My vulva was not the target for confessed sexual needs. My vulva was a kind of nowhere, like light. The phone rang predatorially. From the free clinic, the doctor pursued his opportunity to reproduce fear-based ideas, techniques, and practices in my body. Listen, Paula, you should reconsider the chance this represents for the future of metaphors. Doc, are you licensed to practice medicine on the literary arts? The whole Hippocratic Oath is founded on the ideal of the happy ending, said the doctor. I said literary arts, Doc. Instead, you're talking about a demographically advantageous plot resolution. Paula, I appeal to your sense of climax. Hey, Doc, what makes your intentions towards my vulva any different from the bombs or armies needed to defend the system that produces this piece of paper off which people read our voices and take them for real? Oh, you're just using me for conflict, complained the doctor. Doc, listen to me. You were important here as an authority to establish the existence of this vulva I have been asked to take on. Other than that, your thinking is too domesticated, enclosed, severed from the actual earth. I don't admire your workaholism, your progressively death-oriented process of non-living feelings, behaviors, and lack of spirit remind me of a petrochemical landfill or an electromagnetic microwave radiation blast, all part of the spectacle of public suffering. Stop hiding out in the problem that your appetite for a morbid form of regulation solicits. It was a blue sun that came down out of the moon and ate my mother's breasts. They were golden hornets, hornets the color of corn that stung my lips with the flagged bulbs and stems of foreign song from mountain well sheathed in echoes, frozen, sung into peopleless songs. It was a puddle sopped with empurpled leaves upon whose mute, motionless clarity germinated my shadow, myself, blank form infested, woven from textures of sunken, blight-bitten, water-molded willow hair and weedy grass merging with the loam. It was the storm ice-gouged grain of a boulder traveled through decomposed, silver-salted photographs, century swallowed by white-frocked or feather-hatted childhoods. It was the massive dog of gentility whose faith did not know motion. They were the heavy shoes, heavy black field shoes of a woman that waited behind the taste of shale strained up from rock vein with water. They were the happenstances of the high field, wind through maple shack, amplitude of rusty buckets, scabby, welted brocade, spontaneous, the way rot spawns a mushroom, too slow for thought, too instantaneous for vision. She spoke. Thank you for your generous listening.
Thank you for that piece. What an interesting writing exercise.
Yeah,
That's,
that was cool.
yeah, that was amazing. Everybody, unmute yourself and give it up for Paul Skiff.
Beautiful. And congrats on being published by Simon Schuster. Wow.
Yeah, Yeah, what a trick that was. You know what that taught me was, if I get an opportunity like that, just go as wild as I can, because that's what's going to get their attention.
Definitely. Yeah. Amazing stuff.
Definitely congratulations on that.
Yeah, congrats. All right. So coming up next, we've got Tori B. So what I'd like y'all to do is actually unmute yourselves because unlike poetry, as a comedian, you need that kind of instant feedback, right? So if we're all muted and she's telling jokes, she needs to know if they're landing, right? So let's all unmute ourselves so she can hear all of our beautiful laughter as she tickles us from the inside out. So
Awesome,
Tori.
awesome. It is great to be here. You know, I do stand-up comedy and normally it's a lot of like straight white guys, and never have I come up after an act that said vulva so many times. I'm just like usually used to it being like my dick this and my dick that, and then we've got Paul Skiff here just like embodying, a woman's parts, and I just thought that was fantastic. It really welcomed me onto the stage. Um, Man, some of the shit I have heard tonight is just like it's stirring me and moving me, and so I'm trying to piece together what I'm gonna say. And I'm gonna like pick and choose. I have lots of different devices. I have two phones now. My grandmother looks at me today and she goes, you must be really rich with those two phones, but one of these is one of those Obama phones. I don't know if people remember the Obama phones. Thomas knows what I'm talking about. So
Yeah.
like you get him outside the like social services office, like that's sort of the route I'm on right now. Like I'm really struggling at the bottom. Um, but that's okay, And then the other phone is like 5 years old and it's on its way out as well. But I was like, I can't afford to keep paying for this shit. So Obama, you took good care of me. Kristi's not here anymore, but her fantastic little thing about Jesus got me thinking about Thomas, you lived in Florida, right?
Yeah.
So like did you kind of was there a lot of like religiosity, would you say? Like I have cousins that live there and like they're pretty heavy like Jesus freaks.
Yeah,
Um
somewhat, somewhat. It's
somewhat
such a
somewhat
melting pot down there, there's so many religions and cultures and stuff.
cool.
It's just...
Cool. So but like on the Jesus route, I saw this thing this week that was like AI Jesus is like coming out where you're going to be able to like sit down and like talk to Jesus. And I thought that like this is a really great way to prevent pastors from molesting children, right? If you're able to just access Jesus through the phone. And then I was like, uh-oh, is Jesus going to send dick pics? That's just, yeah. Um, People always ask me about my tattoos. I have a tattoo of North America drawn on my arms because I was born here. And to me, borders are just like geographic. They're like, I think there's so much that's political about them. Um, but I find, the Americas to be this incredibly rich and diverse and beautiful place. So I got the geography tattooed, and people are always like, what does that mean? Like you don't stand with the state in a lot of your politics, You're that little girl that voted for Ralph Nader in the 2004 election when you were in second grade, like voting Green Party before Green Party was cool. It's still not cool. It should be cool to vote green, to vote for our planet. I saw today that they're converting plastic into bricks. This is over in Kenya. Like garbage, like they're making diamonds, lab made diamonds. They're lab making these bricks, and I was like, these engineers are going to save the world. Like the joke tellers, I just pray, to be in the good graces of like these actual geniuses who are going to be riding us through this apocalypse. I didn't hit record and I don't know how long I've been going. All I know is that on this day in 2021, was working this annoying ass job, and I wrote in my journal that I need cleaner material and I need guidance. We skipped to 2022, and I said, I'm in class, baby, getting guidance. Who cares about clean material as long as I can make that money like I used to. Used my sick time today to write. I've been doing a lot of writing. I've been inspired by a lot of people on this mic who like go out and they publish their work and like they put it in the public. So like I've been doing a lot of like stuff with my journals and trying to get them typed up. My friend was like, no one wants to read your shitty handwriting, Tori. Like you've got to type it. Like so that's what I've been doing. And I find myself rewriting a lot of my histories. Like there's parts like just unsavory moments that I really wish I could just go back with a whiteout, you know, and like erase. But like unfortunately the whiteout for herpes does not erase. Right? Like we just can't go backwards. And it's just a conversation to have, you know, with new partners. It's just a conversation to have. In some of this writing, I've realized that my therapist might be a little bit of a quack. She keeps like veering me into astrology, and then I'm like, maybe this bitch is actually just really cool, you know? So she told me that I turned 30 this year, and she said that 29 is the year of your Saturn return, and like a lot of things start to like shift and you start to become who you want to become. You know, and like the self-actualization starts to happen at 30. And I really felt that shift, you know, like so I have this nifty little 5-year journal. I recommend them to everybody because they're so fucking cool to see like the way the weather, like this is my second one, and so like just like what the weather was this time last year, you know, what I was eating, like who I was talking with, how it all changes. Like it just helps you track the patterns, and it's only like 6 or 7 lines that you need to fill here. So your words, peoples. I can nerd out about words with the poets and the comics, but like I like the poets. This is just such a better vibe. I'm having such a good time over here. So I think that like there's a shift for like what I'm gonna write for tonight's journal entry, right? Like I'm having this like massive shift towards the local. Like when I was in college, I was just so like, oh my God, like in order to make it, I've got to be on Comedy Central or I've got to be on SNL. And then like as I develop as like as an artist and a comedian, I'm like, I wanted I don't even need to be the funniest person in the room anymore. Like I had family game night this week, where we watched Family Feud, then Jeopardy, then Wheel of Fortune, and had like Mexican food. And my cousin is like the funniest fucking person, but she would never do what I'm doing right now. Like never in a million years would you get this girl on a microphone. Like she would shit her pants literally. Like she would like she has IBS. Like I'm being 100% serious. Like she would poop all over the place if she were sitting where I'm sitting. But like if she heard that, and she won't because I forgot to record my set. Oh, this is recording. Shit. Yes. I can show Kristen this. If I can make her laugh, I like won over the whole room, right? So like just seeing like Thomas and Debbie have their cameras on and Lantern Carrier, thank you. And I respect everyone who doesn't want to be on mic or on camera. I hope I've given you something to think about. So yeah, it's not about that anymore. It's about, you know, just like fostering community and sharing a laugh and hoping that, you know, at least one thing I said, you know, flipped a little switch in somebody and made them want to stick around to see another Open Minds Open Mics the next Friday. The last thing I'll end on with astrology is like, if you haven't looked into this whole like age of Aquarius versus like what we're going towards in like 1,000 years is the age of Capricorn. It's like the shift away from like this religiosity. Because like age of Aquarius is supposed to be like it is like this image of Jesus pouring water, and then Capricorn is different, and it says that we can expect earthy, structured, and traditional and rule driven. I don't know what any of this means. I'm not an astrologist. Like, let's just get that out there. And this is AI that's telling me this. AI Jesus is telling me my astrology. Yeah, I'm not going to give any falsities there because I'm sure there's nuances that I don't understand. So I'm going to shut my little mouth and listen to the rest of the poems. And thank you all so much.
Thank you so much, Tori. It's always so great to see
Oh,
you,
yes,
and we wish you the
Tori.
best of
Woo!
luck in your career. And you're right, you don't always have to be the funniest person in the room, but you have to be brave and bold and get up there and do it. Whether you get a laugh or not, it's, like you said, they wouldn't be able to get up and do it. And the fact that you can that's what's gonna make you a star. And so,
I
yeah,
knew
we
he
really
had talent.
appreciate you, and everybody unmute yourselves and give it up for Tori B.
Good work, Tori. Hilarious.
Yeah,
Sense of humor is so important.
it is. It's good to laugh. It's good to
Sure,
laugh.
definitely, definitely. All right, so let's keep this thing moving. Coming up next, we've got Dre. I'm really hoping that he's gonna be one of our features coming up next year in January. I'm gonna work it out with him. So yeah, hopefully he'll be one of our first features in the new year. Because me and my wife just absolutely fell in love with his poetry. Like it's so unique. And it's just, yeah, he's our age, it's our generation, and he really speaks for our generation, I think, within his poetry. So, yeah, Dre, if you could, bless us with some words, brother, I appreciate it.
Oh yeah. First and foremost, yes, I will be down to feature. Let me know. We'll work it out, and it'll be an honor and privilege to bless y'all with my words. With that said, I'm just gonna throw a fun little link in the chat. I don't know if this would be viewable for everyone, but this is a fun little commercial I made promoting my first chapbook. I'm gonna do 2 poems real quick. It's pretty much a fun summary of my year. First half was pretty wretched. I was in a toxic relationship. After that breakup, I don't know, I just kind of had moments to reflect, and I discovered Joy Division as a result of it. And there was a song that pretty much hit hard and inspired this poem to spur out of that. So, with that said, this is called Torn Apart. When routine bites hard and ambitions are low, and resentment rides high, but emotions won't grow, and we're changing our ways, taking different roads. Waking up every day with an anchor of dread holding me from wanting to step out of the bedroom, fearing the looming outcome of emotional Russian roulette. This normalization of instability had finally taken its toll. 4 years and 4 months of a failing relationship riddled with fear, anxiety, depression, self-loathing, and miscommunication was coming to a head. We both knew a storm was coming. We just had no idea how damaging it was going to be. We were as ill prepared ending this journey as we were when we started. If Murphy's Law manifested itself into relationship, this was it. This was us. This was our reality. We are both held responsible for the creation of this black hole that has dawned in the presence where fiery passion once thrived. Why is the bedroom so cold? You've turned away on your side. Is my timing that flawed? Our respect runs dry. Yet there's still this appeal that we kept for our lives. We had waited nearly a decade for our love to finally blossom. Our chemistry was undeniable, or so it seemed. Unlike all promising scientific theories, this hypothesis needed to be put to the test. The unique set of obstacles we conquered made us believe that this catch was going to be worth the chase. Yet, reality did not meet expectations for both of us. Yet, we clung on to hope like the face paints we wore in public, the belief that our efforts were not in vain, that we were to not succumb to our wounds in the battlefield of our love? Do you cry out in your sleep, all my failings exposed? There's a taste in my mouth as desperation takes hold. Just that something so good just can't function no more. Unresolved trauma before and during this relationship had a way of undoing our sutures every time the opportunity presented itself. Now that this war is over, we can finally heal. However, we now bear the scars of our past that the naked eye cannot see. PTSD. As we walk in silence on our different roads, navigating through the wreckage of the streets of our heart ghettos, all I see is danger, always danger. I do wish you nothing but the best. However, it hurts to see the mountain of our love crumble into the sea of memories as memories of your face begin to fade away. Love has torn us apart. So that's that poem. And then this poem here kind of reflects on how, for every bad, there's a good. And I didn't expect this good to happen so soon. This one's called Sweetness. The sweetest memory I have is our first kiss. A picture perfect moment in time, eloquently written in the anthologies of our hearts with a picture perfect build-up. A memory sweeter than freshly baked apple pie, any jackpot lottery payout in history, any near and dear childhood memory, and Walter Payton's sweetness on the gridiron. My heart was playing jump rope with my nerves when we first cuddled. The way we looked into each other's eyes chilled me to the bone as my heart was set ablaze with a shot of gas fire adrenaline. As we both committed to having our lips embrace each other, it felt as if our hearts and time itself stood still at 2:15 a.m. on August 18th, 2023. Your kiss is like music. When it hit me, I felt no pain. And I can't help wanting to play that song in a repeat. Your kiss has become the house party jam I want to groove to all night long. To feel safe and vulnerable with someone has been a foreign concept to me for me to grasp, like trying to grab a brass ring slathered in grease. You enrich my body, mind, heart, and soul with two wonderfully crafted novels written in your eyes. My eyes latch onto yours with a hook shot stare that lures me closer to you by the second until the tips of our noses tap and caress each other like lifelong lovers keeping warm near their eternal flame of compassion. Your voice provides me with a lulling melody in which my body slips into a meditative state of spiritual ecstasy, unchaining my mind from past pains, pawning away my Alcatraz in exchange for your Wonderland. Building our foundation has been the most fruitful experience of my life. Every day we chisel more off of the marble, giving our love definition and substance. The way our broken glass fits together, creating mesmerizing mosaics that depict a prophecy of a happily ever after, has made me weep in awe and appreciation. I look forward to see what wonderful architecture our love is bound to create.
Thank you, Dre, man. That's always dope pieces, man. And I love how the order you did it in, right? Like here is a shitty relationship and here's not what I got. Yo, that was really cool, man. I loved how you put those pieces together.
Chronological order, let me tell you.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, everybody, unmute yourselves. Give all the love in the world to Dre.
Man, that was dope. Word, 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 word.
Amazing stuff, man. Yeah, and I'll hit you up. I think, do I have you on Instagram? I'm not sure.
I
Oh, I
think I
do.
might have found you on
Yeah,
Instagram.
yeah, I got you. I got you. I'll shoot you a message. Probably sometime in December or something. Just so it's a little closer towards, the
Cool.
event, and get your bio, work on some artwork for you, and we'll get you set up on a day that works for you. You know,
That sounds groovy to
excited
me,
to hear
man.
your feature, man. So yeah, thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
Coming up next, we've got Debby Segal. If you could unmute yourself and bless us with some words, I would
Oh,
appreciate it.
thank you so much, Thomas and everyone. Okay, I'm a little nervous. I usually read poetry, and I'm going to read you an excerpt from my novella. So it's a piece of fiction, and it's a feel-good romp. So hopefully you'll get the humor in it. I've tried to pare it down to 5 minutes. It might go 6. And it will be entitled Edwin in the Embrace of Entropy. While cataloging trickster folk tales at the anthropology library, Barb daydreams about Ruckus, the wiry train hopper she once dated. She saw him loitering in front of the cafe this morning, Celtic knot tattoo on either side of his shaved head. She had said hi, and he hadn't said a word. His snakebite piercings had a daunting charm. Edwin has done an untold number of consecutive daily acid trips. He is dazed. There are permanent patterns in the sky, trees singing and the ground rippling like water. He barely sleeps. When he gets to People's Park, he plummets to the ground by a patch of rainbow chard. On the way down, he tumbles into the visuals of his own falling body like a slow-motion flip book. A very unpleasant sensation. He's tripping balls. Baby face! He hears a familiar female voice. Is it an auditory hallucination? Alarmed, he peers over a terraced garden bed. Looking through the purple, red, and green stalks, he sees a tall, haughty woman with pink hair strutting his way. I need to talk to you. Kalima is 20 yards away. He clambers to his feet. He sprints. She saunters full tilt in her black lace-up 5-inch platform boots. She turns her ankle on some gravel and falls down on her knees. Come back! I'm sorry! Edwin jogs as fast and as far as he can without looking back. He gets winded halfway to Barb's place and hides in some shrubs. Be here now? Shutting her out like a bad dream in dreadlocks didn't work. Kalima is real. She is here now. Back at Barb's place, the digital clock reads 3:33 a.m. Barb hears rustling in the backyard and peeks out the window to see a tattooed head sticking out from a sleeping bag under her lemon tree. It's Ruckus. He generally squats at the din house, but this morning he has exhausted himself walking back from a thrash course show by the railroad tracks. Barb's house happens to be on the way, and didn't she smile and say hi? He flops without a care. Barb lights a Sherman and plots her strategy. Edwin nears Barb's neighborhood. His buzz is killed. Am I married to Kalima? I can't remember any rings or vows that day. We were all dolled up in the pictures from Vegas. It was pretty lit being her road dog. Other than that time, she stuck a dildo up my butt without consent. And her bourgeois delusions about getting a big inheritance when her philatelist uncle kicks the bucket and wanting to buy a bunch of stuff. Fuck money. I don't want money. I want to have more lit experiences and truth. I want to know if I'm married to her. Edwin was raised to believe marriage is a sacred institution. Dad will know what to do. The sun has not come up yet. Barb makes coffee and makes believe nothing is wrong. Edwin slips in the front door. He silently takes Barb's arms, leads her into the bedroom, and jumps her bones. The notion he might be married, carrying on with a mistress, turns him on a lot. Afterwards, he reaches for Barb's landline to call his dad. Barb cleans herself up and glances out back. Ruckus hasn't moved. Barb takes a banana, a bottle of water, a $5 bill, and slipping on her slides, she shuffles outside. Ruckus snores loudly. She picks up a rake and, keeping the pole between them, prods him gently with the wooden end. Ruckus, wake up! You can't be here now, she snarls softly. His blue eyes open with a blank stare, then a sad gaze, then an angry glare. Why'd you act so happy to see me at the cafe then? Smiling and saying hi and shit. Fronting me off like that ain't cool. I was happy to see you alive. You had a death wish, which is why I had to stop hanging out with you. I couldn't hack it. Anyway, that's water under the bridge. I have somebody new in my life. He's in the house. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Debbie. I would love to read your novella. That sounds amazing. I'm sure you have such wonderful stories to tell, man. Like, I
I'm
love
going to
that
shout
piece.
it from the rooftops when it's released. I usually release my
Nice.
own stuff because I'm not Paul Skiff getting Simon and Schuster to I'll let you know. Thank you.
Excellent. Yeah, I would love to read it. Everybody unmute yourselves and give it up for Debbie Segal.
Woo, Debbie! I loved it.
Yes.
Word.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Definitely. All right. Coming up next, we've got Martin Parker Parkwillian. If you could unmute yourself and bless us with some words, I'd appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much, Thomas. Great work tonight, everybody. This one is a very short one, and then a couple other. I've got 3 poems, I think, tonight. First one is a very short one that what Thomas reminded me of a little bit. This is called Randy. The music begins, and Randy just dances and dances and dances and watches his hand as it moves up and down and round, turning over and under and over with motions like ocean waves. And then a couple from my partner who I usually hang out with on Friday night, but hopefully we'll talk to later. This is My Partner's Crutches. She hates it when people ask her what happened. So often when they first notice her crutches. I'm always on these, is her swift reply. When children ask her why she needs them, she'll say, my legs aren't as strong as yours. But her strength shows through from day to day as she makes her way through this crazy world that'll never, ever truly know what a wonderful miracle she is. Minnetonka to follow. Crutches made of wood, but she kept up with the group. With eyes that sparkled, I knew my life had changed now, but never suspected how. And then one last one here. This is my partner's voice. Its sound is quite familiar now. At first, it seemed a bit brash and loud, echoing through the telephone line within the walls of my freshman dorm. But now that I've heard it most every day for somewhere around 2/3 of my life, I savor its nuanced resonance tones, the way she'll whisper in my ear, or fill me with joy with the lilt of her laugh, can make my whole day worthwhile. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And might I say, if you all aren't following Parkwillian on Instagram, could you please post your link? Because he makes these amazing visual poems where he'll draw, images and animals with the words of the poetry. And it's so pleasing to the eyes. They're just amazing works. If you could share your Instagram so people could follow you and enjoy it as much as I do, I would appreciate that. Everybody unmute yourselves and give it up for Martin Parker.
Will do. Thank you very much.
Very nice. Very,
Martin!
very
Nice.
nice.
All right. So coming up next, we've got Principe in the house. So Principe, if you could unmute yourself and bless us with some words, brother, we would appreciate it.
So, well, I'll be performing 3 poems. The first poem is called Only in My Mind. As I walk through the unsanitized mind, I envision myself to be a naughty night, sexually tearing into a wretched maiden, who's lost in misery, now found in pleasure, tearing, ripping, hurling love on her, making her wet sanctuary pearl, catapulting the mind to another galaxy, reaching the pinnacle. With us absorbing our energies, we become one, thin. And the next poem is called, the title, Bonded by Love. Love is a spell not yet casted on me. If such a thing is to happen, may it not blind me from the truth. When the heart wants what the heart wants, I become blinded by the light and revved up like a douche. When the light hits my eyes, like vampire eyes, when the light hits my eyes, it's like vampire eyes. Soon enough, truth becomes a realigned train track to keep me from the trap. The last one was a little longer. It's called Lone Soul. Lone Soul. I will remain alone, so too quiet to attach to others. Too much of a withdrawn man to go and impart tension. Not to mention, my disquieting eyes speak volumes like my actions. Actions that rather than secure, but they secure you, make you say, huh, forever I go on as an enigma. I'd rather be a single mess than married in stress. I grew up a screw up with a picture frame that's not properly framed, like Murder, She Wrote. The same composition got a mother and a grandmother, no father at home. I was babied as a child. So how can I know what married lovers look like? Love the way my life sits in my front view sometimes. Some of time plus freedom equal peace. I'd rather my body rest in catacombs with my peace attached, like Egyptians with gold. I will remain alone, so poem.
Yeah, so dope, man. So dope. Another one to follow on Instagram for sure. We posting videos all the time of just like amazing poetry. Thank you so much, Prince P, for that. If everyone could unmute and give it up for Prince P.
Very nice. Nice. Yeah,
I always want to hear more.
Keep it
Good work. So good.
Word. Word.
Definitely, definitely. All right, so coming up next, we've got a good friend of mine. We all know and love Frogg Corpse. And I don't know if it's privy information or not. So I'd let you make that announcement if you want, but he just sent me a message about some really cool things that he got going on. So yeah, Frogg Corpse, if you could unmute yourself and bless us with some words, I'd appreciate it, brother.
What's up, man? I'm gonna unplug her real quick. Here we go. All right. Yeah. I'll do that after this. Yeah. All right. been working on this one while listening to you all do your wonderful work and such. I don't have anything as far as a title for it yet. I think it's just a draft, but we're gonna call it untitled for now. Autumn arrives as summer recedes, breaking the sorrowful shales of Silver Creek, struck by a stamper which advanced in its weeds over dead slate I mow by the brush of my feet. A prospect of whom is not what one needs, while fluttering on husk lends watch to a dying thing. A liminal breeze catching fibrous neck, disillusion smiled while wooden steps turned wet. Effluvium widowed, segueing slumber, wilting Ohio branches, swaddling a night breath's shudder, ebon fingers entwined in the oak. An auger ops aligns the toe. Pick your poison, detour a glove. By and by, as gloom shall mow over the marshes and over the groves, deeply enriched in its undertow. Blessings be by the pressing scene, lifting against the statement. Add another for thy brother, refusing to submit an assertion as evidence. For wicks to sing a last chirping plea, stretching along the berm, a vigil light for evening sights of a woman hung by foot. October 17th, Cajun Mutt Press will release my poetry book called Poetry to Die By with artwork by Vitaly Ilyin. I can send you the cover in chat, but I can't show it officially to anyone as there will be a official statement released by my publisher tomorrow. But yes, in about, what is that, 2 weeks time? Yes, 2 weeks time it'll be ready and willing to go.
So excited, man. Yeah, congratulations, man. Yeah, he
Wonderful.
sent me the artwork for the cover and it just looks dope, man. Like, I'm so excited for you,
Yeah,
man.
I'll
I
post
want to
it
get my
in.
hands on that for sure. Thank you so much, Frog, for that reading. That's so cool that you wrote it, while we were all performing. I love when people do that, get inspired by the room and just write.
Yeah,
Um,
indeed. Thank you very much.
that's amazing stuff. Everybody, do me a favor, unmute yourself, congratulate this man, give him all the love that he deserves.
Congratulations, man.
Oh,
Good,
Party.
yes, yes, yes.
Celebrate, celebrate.
Yeah. So our night is coming to a close. We have one more performer, and then we're gonna try to get my dad to close out the night with a joke. So Mom, have him on standby. But for now, we're gonna listen to Cozzy Coz do his thing. And Cozzy, I'm getting some weird feedback with your audio. I don't know if your mic's brushing up against something or.
Hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, there we go.
Can you hear me?
Much better. Yeah, much better.
Hello, everyone. I hope everyone's good. So, this piece that I had tonight, actually, this right here is the actual precursor to my ABCs. Yes. So this is where it kind of came from. This is titled Between Lines. A boy came down each Friday, gleefully happy, in joyfully kind laughter. Many nights, observant patrons questioned, rightfully so, the unusual verb which Xanax yielded zealously. Afterwards, bystanders collectively demonstrated empathetic feelings, generating hope. Immature juveniles kept laughing mockingly, nevertheless, other people quieted respectfully. Since then, urbanites visit whenever Xavier yells zestily. Anyway, behavioral changes do eventually feel good. Harboring insolence just kills life's motives. Now, obtrusive perpetrators quelled rioters, specifically through unjustified violence when Xerxes yoked Zeus. Alphabetized bravery courageously defies every fear gained. Hence, inspiring joyful knowledge like my non-offensive ponderings, quietly relishing serenity, teaching uplifting vernaculars while Xena yawns zenly. Acquiring benevolence can definitely enlighten frantically gullible humans. Implementing justice, keenly lending modestly non-oppressive positions, questioning ridiculous sanctions. This upsets villainously worthless, xenophobically yammering zombies. Thank you.
That was so dope, man. I love how you just looped around the ABCs, man. That was so cool, bro. I love that. Man, I love your style, man, and just your wordplay and how you can, I found myself with the Cyclops phones, using only words with one eye only, really brought out my creativity. And I think when you put yourself into a challenge like that, it really brings out your creativity more because you really gotta work for each word. You got so like by putting a strict limitation on what you're writing, I think it really brings out that creativity more. And you really embody that for me. Like it inspires me. So I really appreciate what you do. Thank you so much. Everybody unmute yourselves and give it up for the master of the alphabet, Cozzy Coz.
Cozzy.
Awesome.
Love it.
Enjoyable.
It is so cool.
Amazing stuff.
Yeah, it's that kind of word work you do, where those words, you use them so precisely like tools.
Yeah.
It's really solid.
And it's so hard with that XYZ, man. And you nail it, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much, man. Thank you. Man.
Yeah, we appreciate you too, brother. All right,
And
so yes,
Dad's
the
got a
end of the
joke
show.
for you, Tom.
So we're gonna go ahead and
Daddy's got a joke for you.
yeah, let my stepdad tell a joke to end out the night. Thank y'all so much for coming. It was a wonderful evening, as always. I hope to see y'all next Friday. And here's my stepdad Randy, man, with a joke for us.
Am I on?
You're on.
All right, here we go, folks. A Martian went hunting one day in Ontario and bagged 3 ducks. He put them in the bed of his pickup truck and was about to drive home when he was confronted by a game warden who didn't like Martians. The game warden ordered the Martian to show his hunting license, and the Martian pulled out a valid Ontario hunting license. The game warden looked at the license, then reached over and picked up one of the ducks, sniffed its butt, and said, "This duck ain't from Ontario. This is a Quebec duck. You got a Quebec hunting license, boy?" The Martian reached into his wallet and produced a Quebec hunting license. The game warden looked at it, reached over and grabbed the second duck, sniffed its butt, and said, "This ain't no Quebec duck. This duck's from Manitoba. You got a Manitoba license?" The Martian reached into his wallet and produced a Manitoba hunting license. The warden then reached over and picked up the third duck, sniffed its butt, and said, "This ain't no Manitoba duck. This here duck's from Nova Scotia. You got a Nova Scotia hunter license?" Again, the Martian reached into his wallet and brought out a Nova Scotia hunting license. Well, the game warden was just extremely frustrated at this point, and he yelled at the Martian, "Just where the hell are you from?" The Martian smiled, turned around, bent over, dropped his pants, and said, "You tell me, you're the expert."
Oh my
There
God,
we
that's
go.
incredible.
Oh, that was good. You're the expert, you tell me. Thanks, Pops, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. It might have to be a new tradition, Dad. You might have to tell us a joke at the end of each show, man. I'd really appreciate it. But yeah, I love the both of y'all. I
Yes,
love
it's
everyone
over
in this
and
room. And I
love
hope you
you,
guys
Mama.
have a wonderful weekend. And I hope to see you next Friday. If y'all want to unmute yourselves and say goodbye, share love with each other, I'll give y'all a few moments before I end the meeting.
Love,
God bless
peace,
y'all.
and joy.
Beautiful, beautiful to see everyone's face.
Thank
Yes.
Stay
everyone.
safe.
Thank you,
Thanks for
everybody.
being here
Hear
again.
everyone's
Nice Friday
voice.
night. Fun Friday
Word,
night.
word.
Take care,
Yes,
everyone.
word.
Thank you, Thomas.
Love.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Open minds,
Good
thank
night,
you.
y'all. Good
Word.
night, y'all. I love y'all.
Thanks,
Peace.
everyone.